prop firm risk management, going into some advanced concepts, strategies, and let's get to it. I've got nothing to sell you, and it's all free forever. And I'm not going to just use some authority bias on you, telling you how much withdrawals I've made, although we will talk about that. Instead, I'm going to give you some ideas with using math, and you can decide for yourself if that math makes sense to you, and that's my argument. But I am sharing how my own system works and some of the conclusions I've come to. But so let's get into it. Let's not spend forever on background. So the first thing that's interesting about prop firms is that risk is shifted to a sample. Okay? So there's only two things that are really unique about prop firms, and we're going to cover both of them. This is the first one. Risk is shifted to the sample. What do I mean by that? Well, let's use, for example, a $200,000 account, which is $20,000 of risk, or a $20,000 personal account. If you're trading your own personal account and you lose a trade, you lose real money. Your real account gets smaller, right? And if you lose your account, you lose $20,000. Now, if you make money, you make money right away too, but it's immediate. When you're trading a prop account, you put a deposit down of $1,000 for that $200,000 account with $20,000 risk. Now, you only lose your deposit if you lose all $20,000 of risk. Your first trade you lose, you don't lose any money. Your second trade you lose, you don't lose any money. Your third trade you lose, you don't lose any money. It's only when you blow your whole account that you lose money. Now, your risk got shifted to the sample. At the same time, though, you win a trade, you're not getting paid. In order to get your deposit back, you have to grow that account by 8%, and you have to grow another account by 6%. Then you have to have another account that's just in some amount of profit after 2 weeks or a month. So it's hard to do, but what's happening is risk is getting shifted to a sample instead of an individual trade. So it has a number of ramifications that are very interesting. The first is, if you're shifting risk to a sample, if you do not have an edge, you will never pass the sample. It's better to gamble, right? But if you have an edge, you want your risk to be on the sample, right? If you have an edge, you want your risk to be on the sample. Because if you have an edge, you're likely to pass. But if you don't have an edge, you can't even pass ever, basically. I mean, occasionally you can gamble and pass one, but shifting risk to the sample, if you're a professional trader, like, consistency doesn't really exist. Well, that's not true. There's different ways to measure consistency, but if you're somewhat consistent, you measure your volatility, you manage your drawdowns, you're typically gaining. You want to shift your risk to the sample. And yeah, we'll get to the second thing. We'll come back to this, but you can, by shifting your risk to the sample, and the combination of that with having high leverage, it's possible to make a living from what you would otherwise be undercapitalized trading your own personal account, right? You could potentially start off with $5,000 and make a six-figure income by just trading reasonably. That's not possible trading a personal account. But since you're shifting risk to the sample, then you are, if you have an edge, you're allowing that edge to play out. What it means, though, for me, and why I only trade prop is, if I'm shifting my risk to the sample, I don't care how far the payout is away. I love that I'm not going to lose money for a while, right? I'm going to limit how much money I lose. I love that I can take losing trades and not lose money in my bank account. So, I mean, that means the drawdowns aren't nearly as severe. And when you're trying to be a professional trader, What really matters is managing the drawdowns. If you can manage the drawdowns, reduce how much you can lose, over time you survive to make money, improve your skills, level up, and wait for markets to align with what you're trying to do. So, number one most important thing is that risk is shifted to a sample. And that's a mathematical proof, right? Is that risk is shifted to a sample. Now, you could argue that prop firms are trying to rig the sample against you by cranking up slippage, having unnecessarily high swaps and spreads. And that might be true that the swaps and the spreads are slightly higher than normal. But if you have a significant edge, that shouldn't matter, right? It should only hurt your edge slightly. It shouldn't stop you from being profitable. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing, which is really important here, is asymmetric payout reward to failure risk. What do I mean by this? So, and we're going to come from here and sort of develop a trading system based off this. So, a $200,000 challenge that gives you $20,000 of risk. You need to make $16,000 to pass phase one. You need to make $12,000 to pass phase two. So let's assume that if you're reaching a payout, it's at least 6%, $12,000. Take off the 20% because you only keep 80%. You withdraw 10%, $10,000. An average payout for a $200,000 account is $10,000. Okay. Now, a $200,000 account costs about $1,000. So what does that mean? It means one payout, on average, pays for 10 failed challenges. And what that means is, if you take 5 challenges, you fail 4 of them, you get a payout on one of them, and then you fail that one, you're actually coming out way ahead still. Asymmetric payout reward to failure risk. Now, I am assuming that your payout is 5%. Maybe it's 4%, maybe it's 3%, but still, even if you only make a $4,000 payout on that 200K account, it's still paying for 4 challenges. The point is, you don't need to pass every challenge. So, this is something that I did not get initially. Initially, I didn't get it. So as I'm pyramiding accounts, I'm trading multiple accounts, I'm passing more accounts. I had $800,000 in funding, and I withdrew something like $35,000 in a month. But I was trading all of my accounts exactly the same. And when I went through an inevitable drawdown, I'm not going to talk so much about whether you should risk 1 or 2%, which is really 10 or 20%. But when I was trading everything correlated exactly, and I ended up losing all the accounts. But I only needed to pass one account to pay for all the losing accounts, right? So if I had just traded one account, like the exact opposite of how I was trading, it would have paid for all the losers, right? So can we agree that we have an asymmetric payout reward to failure risk? That a past challenge is worth many failed challenges, or a payout is worth many failed challenges on average. Okay, if we agree on that, what does that mean? It means that the way to make money trading prop is to trade multiple accounts and trade them different. Now, trading them different can mean different things, but for me, trading them different means not hedging. They don't want you to do that, actually. It goes against the rules. I don't know that they can figure out that you do it. If you're hedging across different platforms or different businesses, prop firms, they say in there, they don't want you doing this. If you do it in one account and another account in the same firm, they will fail you. Because of the asymmetric payout reward to failure. But for me, it means trading different assets. So, say I have 4 accounts, and there's a couple different positions I like in the market. Maybe I'm long Bitcoin in one account. I'm short the indices in another account. I'm long the USD pair in another account. I'm short gold in another account. And I want those to be high quality trades. But even if they're not, and one of them even works, or two of them even works, I'm able to pass and get payouts, right? Like, so I have a situation right now, or 5 weeks ago, I started trading. All my accounts were in drawdown. I had 6 prop accounts. They're all in drawdown, some are close to blowing up. Now, in that time, of those 6 accounts, I think they're all up somewhat. Some of them are only up 1%. Some of them up only a couple percent. I'm trading them all different. I'm mostly different. I'm trying to be more diversified. But a couple of the accounts went up 12%. And then went up another 6%. Some of the accounts are up 18%. So I've passed, during this time, I've passed 2 phase 1s and I've passed a phase 2. No, 3 phase 1s. So I have 2 phase 2s and I have a funded account. And then I have like 5 accounts in phase 1. Most of them are in drawdown. It doesn't matter that they're mostly in drawdown, right? Because a couple of them will rise out of the swamp and pay for everything because of asymmetric risk reward. And you combine these together. I said there are only 2, but the third one is insane leverage. It gives you insane leverage. So for $1,000, they give you a $200,000 account that has like 50 to 1 4x leverage. You have like 8 figures in leverage from $1,000 of risk. It's absolutely insane. So if you combine insane leverage, shifting risk to a sample, and asymmetric payout reward to failure risk, it allows you to make a lot of money with a little bit of risk. And what that means is it allows you to be a professional trader without going and getting other people's money, without having a mid 6-figure stake. You could do it, again, you have a job, and you say you have $500 disposable income. Well, there's a 100K challenge you can try once a month. From there, you can make a 6-figure income using these principles. So this is why the only reason that I would trade personal account in the future is because I'm sitting on reported losses, and I could get some amount of cap gains for free without paying tax on. But other than that, other than the tax reason, I see no reason to not trade prop. And also, trade them different. And you can leverage, let some of them blow up, or let some of them be huge payouts. Okay? Hope you find that useful. Much love. Appreciate you. And let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.